Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Paul, and in this video, we're going to look at the basics of how to read and understand rhythm. So when first thinking about rhythm, we need to understand the time signature. The time signature contains a top and bottom number. The top number tells us how many beats are in the measure, and the bottom number tells us how we count those beats. So the top number in the time signature is like an invisible grid that divides up the measure and tells us how many spaces are in that grid. So if the top number is a 4, there will be 4 spaces in the measure. If the top number is a 3, there will be 3 spaces in the measure. Whatever number is in the top dictates how many spaces will be in the grid. The bottom number in the time signature tells us how big the spaces in the grid are, or how we measure those spaces. So if there is a 4 as the bottom number, each space in the grid will be 1 quarter note long. And this tells us what kind of rhythms can fit into these spaces and the measure as a whole. So in a 4/4 time signature, there are 4 spaces and each space can hold 1 quarter note. So there are 4 quarter notes in one measure. Knowing this, we can fill up the spaces in a measure with whatever rhythms we like. So a half note would take up 2 spaces in a 4/4 measure because it is 2 beats long. Then we would have 2 remaining spaces left to fill up with other rhythms. A whole note would take up all 4 spaces because it is 4 beats long. 2 eighth notes would only take up 1 space in 4/4 time because they are each half the length of a quarter note. So since the quarter note is the length of each space or beat, it is always a question of how other rhythms relate to this rhythm. In a rhythm tree, we can see how all the rhythms relate to one another, how they divide out into each other, how they add up to one another. Since the quarter note is the length of the spaces or beats, this is also why the quarter note is the counting beat or pulse, the underlying rhythm that stays steady and unchanging. No matter what rhythms are put in the measure, the pulse or counting rhythm stays the same. So when working with rhythm, we have to keep track of this underlying pulse and then how the rhythms we are seeing or reading or hearing relate to this pulse. This is where counting comes in. We use it to keep track of what beat or space we are on and how long the rhythms should last. So some exercises to practice this or experience this look at combining the underlying counting pulse with rhythms. So one exercise is to count and clap rhythms. The counting should stay steady and regular, and then the rhythms that you are clapping should be placed into, lined up with this steady counting.
1, 2, and 3, 4.
Another exercise is to clap a steady pulse and then sing rhythms over the top. In this exercise, the clapping should remain steady and even, and then the singing should be lined up with this steady pulse.
Da, 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 da.
Another exercise is to maintain a steady pulse with one hand and then perform a different rhythm in the other hand. You can also switch which hands are performing the rhythm or maintaining the pulse. So these are just some basic ideas for understanding and practicing rhythm, the fundamentals to get you started. However, there are many exciting things to learn about rhythm beyond this. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe, like, share, comment if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.